In 2021, content creator groups are one of the most overpowered tools to become an internet sensation. Trash Taste, the Sidemen, DreamSMP, offlineTV, Hololive, OTK, Chuckle Sandwich, FaZe Clan, the Teletubby. These YouTube groups have turned into content empires, both boosting the growth of the individual creators as well as the growth of their combined channels. Now, how are these groups so overpowered and why are there so many of them? Well, I think that the reason actually has been exploited in traditional media for decades, and in this video I'm going to be explaining why these YouTube groups have taken over the platform and my plan to create the next influencer group that's going to dominate all of your homepages and recommended feeds. Now, content creator groups come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. Some groups are combined channels in which all of the creators meet up to make content for. A good example of this would be the Sidemen's YouTube channel. I think they're one of the oldest YouTube groups that is still extremely successful today. The Sidemen upload weekly to their channel, which has over 10 million subscribers and receives hundreds of millions of views every single month. A similar style of content creator group to this one are podcast groups. Some of the most popular being Trash Taste, Chuckle Sandwich, and Cold Ones. With podcasts, usually the individual members' channels stay the same while they converge to create group content on their podcast. My favorite group is the Trash Taste podcast, which I made a video on, but I think they're a prime example of how a podcast can be successful, receiving over 1 million views on every episode and having a channel which is pretty much larger than all of their individual channels. On the other end of the spectrum, you have streamer groups, and some popular examples include Hololive, OTK, and DreamSMP. Instead of creating a group channel in which their content is uploaded to, the way these groups collaborate is by appearing on each other's streams and using the raid feature on Twitch to basically create a circle jerk of clout and viewers on each other's channels. Lastly, you have esport organizations which, aside from working together on crypto pump and dumps, these are usually groups in which talent is signed on as part of a paid contract. To be honest, I think that this is the least successful way to form a content group because usually the collaborations between the members feel somewhat forced, as a lot of these creators don't know each other before they start creating content. However, there are scenarios where they can be successful, but successful is a subjective term. Now, I'm a YouTuber, and so I think the best option for me to create a content empire would be to form a group YouTube channel to which we could upload original, funny, and entertaining content. I also want to theme the channel around my interests, and since I'm kind of an anime YouTuber, I would base it around that. But we could venture into other things once we get more established. Now, before I get into recruiting talent for my group, I want to explain how these groups are so successful. The first reason, and the most obvious reason, is that they sort of combine the influence and clout of the individual channels. Since each of the members may have viewers that are completely unique from the other members, when they combine, the viewers from the individual channels congregate into the main channel. It's kind of like if you and your friends all just glued yourself together. In the case of streamer groups like the DreamSMP and Hololive, they utilize collaborations to maximize the viewership for their streams. Usually they try to keep only 1 or 2 streamers live at a time while the other streamers in the group feature on their streams. This essentially has the effect of creating a combined stream of viewers going to each of the channels as they go live. I think that this is an extremely powerful method, as the viewership for the DreamSMP is pretty much the highest on Twitch, and Hololive also creates some of the most viewed and the most super chatted channels on YouTube. Although Hololive is an agency, I think that they're able to pull off the content creator groups so well because they're recruited as a group, which help create a natural dynamic between the members. Alright, so now I have to recruit members for my group, and I decided to reach out to some of my fellow AnyTubers to see if they'd be interested in joining. Alright, so first I'm going to message Benjamin. He's another AnyTuber. He's around the same size as me, so I think he'd be down. His content's really good, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be down. I don't really know him at all, but I found his Discord, so I'm just going to send him a message and see what happens. Alright, let's see what he says. What? I think that the most overpowered effect that content creator groups can have is that they can bolster parasocial relationships with the creators. When you have members of a group that are genuinely friends, you usually end up seeing a more personal side of them that you don't normally see in their videos. You get to see how they interact with other people, what kind of friends they are, and usually a more toned down version of themselves. This makes it really easy for people to become attached to the creators in the group and form parasocial relationships with them, when obviously the creators can't reciprocate these feelings. On one hand, this is worrying, as this can be damaging for people if it gets in the way of their actual relationships, but on the other hand, it can help build fans for the creators there that are more loyal and will watch the content regardless of whether or not the thumbnail and title is super appealing. I think that one of the best ways in which you can see this is with the rise of Corpse Husband's channel on YouTube, in which he went from uploading scripted horror videos on his channel to being able to get millions of views from a video of his hand. And I think that a big factor that allowed him to do this was his interactions with other streamers like PewDiePie and offlineTV. When you have a huge amount of people that want to know more about you, you can pretty much create content about anything that will appeal to your fans. One of the most powerful avenues for a lot of creators are clips. Because they're so short, they can be spread like wildfire on YouTube and TikTok, and a lot of times these clips are fan-made. Even though some of the relationships people form with creators can be slightly worrying, I think that it's fun to see how dynamics function in different friend groups. I think a lot of sitcoms use the same method to create loyal fans and characters that people come to love. Obviously, characters in sitcoms aren't real people, but at the same time, I think that people play a character of themselves when they're on camera, even if it's a lot closer to their actual selves. I also think that people like to place themselves into other friend groups and imagine what their interactions would be like. BuzzFeed has pretty much built an empire at this point by creating which character from The Office would you most be like articles, and I think that the same kind of logic can be applied to content creator groups, where people can relate to a certain member and live vicariously through them in their interactions. While I think that parasocial relationships are worrying, at the same time I think that it can be genuinely super fun to imagine yourself in different friend groups. Especially in the past year being locked in, I think that it can help supplement a lack of social interaction that we have. Obviously, I don't think that it can replace it, but it scratches the same social itch for me. There's a video by Dr. K who's replying to this guy who pretty much gets all his social needs from Twitch streams, so much so that he finds real life relationships to be a waste of time. I think that this goes to show how powerful influencer groups can really be, but at the same time how worrying they can be. They aren't inherently bad, but I think that as a viewer you should try to get your social needs met through actual interaction, as there's so much that you can get out of it that you just can't from watching YouTube or Twitch. Thanks so much for watching. Majority of my viewers aren't subscribed, so if you aren't already, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind later. Also, thanks again for all the support on the trash taste video. I didn't expect at all for that video to do so well, but welcome to all the new viewers and subscribers.